Come on!
Sing it louder. You wouldn't last 2 seconds at practice, I tell you.
How are you doing, Miles?
I'm fine, man. I'm all right.
Okay, he's a bit dazed. He's a bit confused.
I am a bit dazed actually today. I had a couple of beers yesterday, and I just feel I'm not hungover. I'm just a bit I'm a bit hazy. My brain isn't as sharp as it normally is, so I might not be my normal. Just some lemonade. I've got some sparkling water whilst you're nursing a glass of Chardonnay or something.
But yes, this is Trout Spinners.
How's your week been?
Good. Yeah, I got rid of a lot of boxes, so that's interesting.
Yeah, Gary had a stack of Amazon boxes in his little pokey flat, and he's finally decided to unwrap them and see what's actually in them. Any nice discoveries?
I opened them all. They were all empty boxes. I don't order stuff and then just leave it sit there. Okay. They were just empty boxes. I couldn't be able to get. But yeah, I removed my name from the address. You know.
Do you really? You get rid of?
You have to unfold them and flatten them. It took me about 8 trips to the bins. There was so much. You know, I couldn't carry them. I'm a strongish man.
You literally take the name off the individual labels?
Yeah, because in case.
Why?
Because I worked in fraud, so you know, people. That's how people can impersonate you.
Do they do that seriously? It is.
It's pathetic of them. Yeah, it's annoying.
That's so weird. I just imagine you with a little biro going, I'm not going to work my identity out.
No, I had a little knife and I cut out my name. It took bloody ages, mate. Bloody ages.
It's like you're making a hostage note. Taking the stuff out.
I had a finger up arse.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Everything's fine, right?
Was it?
Because I was having pain there, and my God, I'll tell you what, they wiggle it about more than I think than they need to. And he did. He said to me before he was about to go in. He said, "By the way, do you want a chaperone?"
Before he's about to go in.
Yeah, before he's saying, "Get on the bed."
I'm going to stand behind this.
Stand behind it. Could be anyone.
Yeah,
it's the doctor, luckily.
Oh, God.
But no, he said, "Do you want a chaperone?" I said,
"What?
No, it's all right."
A chaperone?
He's a young fella.
Was he?
Too young to be a doctor.
Well, just what? As in someone to stand there and watch, like another nurse or doctor?
Yeah, like someone else to come in to make sure
it's embarrassing enough. It was your dignity in that.
Exactly. Either way, you know, he's still putting his finger up there. So if he gets pleasure from it, what else is he going to do? Put another one up? I don't know. But yeah, luckily,
everything okay?
No abnormalities were found.
I've never had it done.
I'm surprised you haven't, because
I've been prodded in other places, but never that place.
Miles has had his testicles held by many men and women. GPs can be women as well. So
yeah, no, I've kept my dignity for a
while. That's worse. That's the worst thing. I'd prefer finger up arse, but it was weird. He puts it in. He uses a lot of Vaseline. Or when he's in there, it's like the beckoning. You know, if you're beckoning, like come on, it's like that. I was like, he said, tell me if it gets uncomfortable. And I told him to carry on.
I said, well, I could go to the moment when I walked through the door. That was pretty uncomfortable.
This whole when I rang up to really get this appointment.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had to explain to the receptionist, who's not a medical professional, what my problem was. Before she booked me.
I mean, that is the worst. Actually, I've been there before. When you call up at 8 o'clock to get an appointment, because that's what you have to do these days.
8:30 in mine, yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And then you have to call up and say, "May I ask what the problem is?" Well,
yeah, not really.
Definitely not. You really can't, because I know. Oh God. Well, I'll tell you what. Whilst we're talking about embarrassing moments,
so just to get on, I was going to say, let me go. Well, so Mars, how's your week been? And I know some of this, but I don't know anything.
Okay.
What you're about to hear, you won't believe.
Well, they did find out last week because I told them. Anyway, it was my first, they call it a taster session for the choir that I've joined, the West End Musical Choir. All right.
Is it for the priests to taste?
There was no priests. It was just a bunch of people who love musical theatre and love singing in an amateur capacity. But it was in this church in Oxford Street on a Tuesday evening. Before the session, I decided to have a pint, and I did have to have a couple of cigarettes and break my rules that day because it was just too nerve-wracking.
Even you just saying that now, I can't help but.
So
that is pathetic.
It is pathetic. So yeah, no, do light up, enjoy. Anyway, I went with my friend, and you walk through, and they say, "Oh, are you a baritone, a soprano, a a tenor or whatever. I was like, I don't know, just what do
you're
you
not.
think?
You're neither. You're not. You don't have a deep voice, so you're not baritone, but you're certainly not soprano.
Apparently, I'm a tenor, or
tenor,
as close
right.
to that.
What's that in between a baritone?
I think
That's
so. I think so. It's like a kind of low voice, but you can be a bit. It's like a sort of medium voice, as I understand.
How do they tell you? Do you
literally
speak to them
nothing? I just spoke, and then obviously my voice is semi-deep. It's not,
your voice
like,
comes
high.
out.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So they shepherd me off to these pews where I sit there. And
the pews?
No. And then you get you have to bring out the printed lyric sheet, and it's got sheet music, and I can't read sheet music. Anyway, long short of it, it was really fun. I did sort of jump straight in there. You do all these vocal exercises where you have to go la 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 la. You have to like wiggle your face with it.
You're doing
no. It's everyone.
And
so you feel immediately at ease. But once the song started, and it was a song from, let me check it out. It's called, it's from Wiz the Musical, which is like an African-American version of Wizard of Oz.
Right.
It's got like Michael Jackson and it's not
good, Michael Jackson. Well, he's all right, yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's got Michael Jackson in, it must be.
And Diana Ross. So it's a song from that. I'd not been familiar with the song before, and I've never seen the musical either. It was okay. The woman next to me, she said, "You have a lovely voice." I'll just say.
Oh, well.
It's true. It's true. No, it's true. But they are they're just such a specific sort of person. You know what I mean by that? It's lovey theatre lovies, that they're very much into the arts, that Amdrammy vibe. Very different to sort of people that I hang out with.
Yeah. Well, let's test that, what she said. Because since they heard my voice at the beginning, I did a bit of singing. What do you know what?
Do you know what? I can't. You have to come to the final performance. Once we're going to do that, I can get you.
I want to hear you on your own. I can
take you a ticket. I'll get you a ticket
with 13 blokes, isn't it?
Well, this is what's good about choir, because you're part of a mass. You're part of a collective.
Yeah.
So you don't have that
you're
pressure.
Never sort of.
But
is there one of the choir who's like got a solo bit? Because usually they do.
No.
I'm thinking of Sister Act.
Yeah.
Is that what it's like?
Yeah, I want to be. I'm like the sort of larger woman in Sister Act. That's me.
Oh, she was a good singer.
Yeah, she was good, and that's my aim. By the end of it, I want to sing to the Pope.
Like the larger woman.
I don't know.
That's going to lose his fans, but
I know I shouldn't say that. But she's a bigger person. You're very sniffly today.
Oh, okay. Leave that comment in so the listeners understand.
Okay. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to do my best to cut all of the sniffles out. If you feel them coming on, Gary, mute. Yeah. Just mute.
I'm very apologetic. Yeah, but it's unconscious, so but I won't. Okay. Tell me if I do it. No, I know I did it then because to like testing it out, the theory.
Sure.
I'll try not to do it again. Sure.
Thanks.
Okay, let me know if I do.
Anyway, I'm going to sing to the Pope, but better still, this week I went to see the Moulin Rouge in London's glittering West End, which was bloody brilliant.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? That's how you had sex with me.
Bloody love French women. Yeah, me too. Bloody love them. Anyway, so once that had finished, came out, and there was
That's a good review. You haven't said anything. You didn't say anything about it.
I went to a musical.
Your review is what happened afterwards.
So Idris Elba was there filming the new Luther film. And he just walked past us. Really? Pretty amazing.
Was he filming? Were you in the film? Was it a thing of the film?
Oh no, they didn't get there.
He was just relaxing off set.
No, they were filming a scene. They were filming a proper scene. He walked past me.
But I'm saying if he walked past you in the scene, you'd probably be in the background.
No, I wasn't in the back. I was like voyeur to the scene that was happening.
Oh, so you were looking on to this.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. That's my little claim to fame. So good week, I'd say. If anyone is looking for a bit of a feel-good factor, though, I would actually recommend joining a choir. It does make you feel energetic. Yeah. Your adrenaline does rush, and it's nice to feel. It's a very happy thing to do.
So is this a choir or methamphetamine?
Either one.
A lot of that is done by
either one. You can do one at home. You can sing at home as well. Anyway, I wanted to talk. So today, we are discussing.
Smooth. That was smooth. Leave it in.
This week we are discussing Series 3, Episode 7, 13th of December 2003. XFM's Christmas presents to the guys. Karl not buying for Suzanne. The Birds and the Bees. Baby What give birth to a baby. Rockbusters revisited. Lord of the Rings is shit. Nerdlingers, the English language. Karl in film this week is Scrooge. Cheeky Freak of the Week. The 70-year-old who is 38. And Monkey News this week is about an aeroplane passenger complaining that they have no nuts. I'll put a link to the show in the description, and you can listen to that. And when you've done that, you can come back for our little debrief. Oi, hello. So
how would they know? How could they pause ours in that?
They pause ours
and
at
then
that
come back when
moment.
we say hello. So how would they
resume it then?
Because if they went off ours, wouldn't the timer go back to zero?
No, it wouldn't. That's the great thing about these apps. It stops there. If you listen to a podcast or had any interest in the audio medium, you would know that.
I'm not a good speaker. Anyway,
That's true.
Yeah, you just said about everything that was in the episode there, so that's.
But now we don't need to mention it. We can just talk about the greatest hits of this show. So what were your? Oh, before we get started, coming up, we've got.
Don't ever interrupt me like that again.
I know, but I have to say this to tease. Favorite quotes, XFM in the community, and Afterlife Series 3 dropped last week on a Friday, I believe, at 8 a.m. So there's been time for some critical reaction and some fan reaction, both positive and negative. So we're going to discuss our thoughts on that, and just the wider discussion around it.
Neither of us watched it in full, so we can't.
No, so you can kind of gather our thoughts already. What kind of thing we're going to say? Exactly. So what are your thoughts? Sorry.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's not my favorite. I like the Christmas episodes because I usually listen to them around Christmas, and it's like if I get to it in the middle of the year, I'd skip past it. Because it's like, I don't want a Christmas episode. So it kind of reminds me of that. But as an episode, kind of when I was listening back to it, it wasn't as fulfilling as I remember it. It was okay. I mean, Karl in the film is just the best, just because of that one word, or two words. That's all you need. It turns that from an average Karl in the film with no laughter. It's nothing particularly funny in it. That makes it brilliant. That makes it incredible. Monkey News, Rockbusters wasn't, it's all right.
Some call this the worst Rockbusters ever.
Yeah, but it depends what you mean by worse. Worse in terms of quality of the Rockbusters if you were trying to do them as a proper clue, or how funny it is. Because sometimes those are funnier. So in terms of funny, it's all right, but it's not. Because Karl messing up is funny. I wouldn't call it the worst Rockbusters, but I judge it on how funny it is overall. Purely, like, it could be Ricky that makes the whole Rockbusters with something he says. Sometimes it's Karl. This week, it's a bit of both, and it's okay. You know what I mean? It's not. I think they revisit a lot of things in this episode because a lot of things they discuss have been discussed in other episodes.
Like what?
Baby that I had. Baby,
oh right, yeah.
Girl with the big head. What else?
There is anyone you'd like to apologise to for the year?
That's the word, because I said it in the previous episode and they talked about the girl at the beginning. I said, it's not this one where Steve makes the comment. I said, he's coming up soon. I'm not sure where it is, but it's this one today that we're reviewing. So makes the comment at the end, and that is, they got a complaint about that.
Do you get the sense?
Even get upheld.
Yeah, that didn't. Yeah, and it also redacts any apologies that the guys made in the previous episode. It made it so redundant because she wrote that article, sent it in, Vicky, I think her name is, and then they go for this whole backtrack and having to apologise. I'm sorry, when Karl says anything, I have to laugh, and then they do it again, and they both do it.
Yeah, I know.
It's so
actually
bad.
It's funny. Ricky doesn't make a comment either way. Sometimes he's the real voice of reason.
Yeah, but he does.
Sometimes he's the one making a joke. But
is that a defence? Is that a legit defence to say? I have to apologise. No. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, and he said, and I have to apologise too. Because I actually, when Karl stops talking, I literally can't not laugh. Like, is that a legit defence? Would that stand up in court?
No,
it doesn't make you immune to slagging off someone, does it?
Yeah, it depends what you've committed. If it's like a series of burglaries, probably it wouldn't stand up as a defence.
Yeah, like Bo Selector isn't too bad.
No, let's not
in that context.
It's kind of like, it's not pleasant. It's funny, but we know that's wrong because it's against one individual rather than, say, the Chinese. There's at least 1.5 billion of them to kind of gang up on Steve.
You wouldn't last very long in a fight,
that
would
one
you?
girl.
I think it's quite comical because Karl is he's sort of ready to pack up and go, isn't it? And he's so miserable at the start. He's got and that quote that he says, if I was a milkman, you don't go have two bottles of
that's one of my favourite quotes.
I know. I was going to put it in my quotes, but I've got a few of those. But anyway, that is such a brilliant analogy. You know, he's getting pissed off because he's got 2 CDs, which he could have got for free anyway.
Yeah.
So it sets the tone, and then he's unhappy because listeners are smacking his holiday off. This is true as well. I think I said it on the previous show. I can't remember what I've said and what I haven't said because we haven't done one of these for a while. Like of a normal show, I mean. My friend at work, did I mention that his Secret Santa to me was that a flight to Lanzarote. I don't think I'll go.
To take on a specific day. It's only one way as well, isn't it?
It's a one way.
You've got to fund the way back.
Yeah, but that was very funny. I did say, you know, I can't go. Be honest with you. I've got no desire to go.
How much was it he paid?
I don't think it would be much, would it? It'd be like 20 quid, something like that.
Wow.
But the budget was only £10 minimum, and I stayed well within that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. £3.50. If I know him well, I think I do.
Exactly.
But no, that brings up the fact that, well, again, this would have been a great timed episode if we'd done it actually at Christmas, which we originally intended. It also would have been great to have timed with that. But Trout spinners, like what we do, we're a bit off with everything. So we're doing this after that. But, you know, it's not too bad. In January. No. Maybe is it next Christmas's?
So other things
next Christmas. We'll have gone for all of them.
Oh God, yeah. We'll have to just do nothing.
Get the Carly Bill. Just listen to Carly Bill boys.
No, don't ever do that. Is there any other anything that stands out? I've got some points.
Well, stands out the birds and the bees chat. Steve's actually making a reasonable point there, and Ricky doesn't get what he's saying. He never answers it, and I don't know why is it the birds and the bees. And he says, "Well, it's easier to say filling up the queen with spunk for a day, but why the birds and the bees? It's never answered." And I think that's an interesting point. I didn't know either. I've always wondered that. I'm not saying it's the most scintillating bit of radio they've ever produced, but Mars is typing.
No, keep talking because I'm going to get you an answer.
Well, okay. Do you want to know what I did at the weekend, or should I just list my hobbies?
Okay, luckily. So here we go. This is from Wikipedia. According to tradition, the birds and the bees is a metaphorical story, sometimes told to children. Yeah, we know this. For instance, bees carry and deposit pollen into flowers. A visible and easy to explain parallel to the way a man brings about fertilization. Female birds laying eggs is a similarly visible and easy to explain parallel to female ovulation.
My girlfriends have never laid eggs, or even women friends.
Deposited pollen. No.
So how's that the same?
Yeah,
they do insert pollen into them. That's the
your pollen's deposited is not used, and bees are dying out.
No.
So
it is being deposited, but it's not necessarily in the place it wants to be.
Thanks very much. I do think the sex education points is quite is very true. Actually, it's like I don't need to know how to have sex. Because, like Karl said,
how can I get
how much? How much is there to know? But it's about technique and how to get into position. But
imagine if they taught you technique at school, like actual technique for sex. That's what they taught you.
Repeat. I think that's an absolute legit and fair point, and actually quite apt for where we are in terms of sex education and the kind of movements that we're making. Because we should talk about, relationships and the emotional side to sex as opposed to just the physicality of it, because it is about consent and it is about enjoyment, obviously. No, but it is. No, that's not being dark.
Oh, no, of course it is.
It's not being dark. It's not dark. That's a fact of life. It's interesting that
what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say to me?
Well, because a lot of it is kind of obvious, isn't it, when you do sex education? And most kids have watched.
You need one of those whistles. That's all you need. Benny Hill. Show them a Benny Hill video.
That's
about relationship. Actually, they're not very good with the issue of consent, to be honest. He's just chasing women around the field. You can't do that. Can't do that, Benny.
Stop.
Come on, Benny. You've gone too far.
They say that about Kiss Chase, though, don't they? Because we used to play Kiss.
Kiss Chase. Yeah, it is like.
That was a weird thing to play now.
Never got.
All right, lads, just run up to random women and start kissing them on the lips. All right.
Girls seem to get even faster when I got involved at running away. So that's the thing about it. Anyway.
I do think it's unfair at some points. Ricky, he sort of penalises Karl for having an opinion. And sometimes I really don't like that when he says...
Which bit?
Karl says, well, you're an idiot if you don't... No, Ricky says, oh, well, you're an idiot if you don't like New York then, next.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, he's not even allowed to
subjective.
have... And it's subjective, and it's subjective when you're an idiot if you don't like New York. And that's
but he's
when
right.
Ricky...
Karl is right when he says subjective. It is subjective.
It is, yeah. And you don't have to like something just because everyone says it's great. I mean, I really like New York and Paris.
Do you want to
bring it back to
retweet from Ricky?
We might get onto that. But also, he does have a bit of arrogance with Ricky. He knows when he says they're talking about the English language, how many words are in the English language. Apparently, I looked into this and I've checked. There's over 600,000 terms.
I think a lot of them are scientific terms that we wouldn't necessarily use.
Probably, yeah. But that's what when Ricky does say that happens maybe once or twice a year. When I go, sorry, I don't know what you're talking. But that is just so silly. No. To be honest, like if I don't understand something, I literally will check a dictionary. I read a lot of film reviews, and obviously the language is really heavily descriptive and quite flowery, and my language or vocabulary isn't that extensive, but I would need to check what something means.
My
and
words
even if you
not
do
long.
that,
in it.
Not
words
long.
And isn't long.
No, but it's good. It's good to check new things because even if have you started playing Wordle, by the way?
I don't even understand it. Yeah, people tweet and they're all like they have numbers after them. I don't know, and they're just blocked. I am not playing Wordle.
All right.
Do you want to play?
I do kind of. I like to know. I got really into words for a bit. Words with friends.
Wordle, yes or no? Oh yeah, words with friends. Yeah, I played that. That was Scrabble good. I play some, but I can't be.
I like Scrabble too. What Scrabble?
Words to do. Yeah, having words to do, and I
play it with my grandma, but we have to have
really?
When it gets to and when it gets to mine though, I'm really I'm the worst sort of gamer. I'm crap at games, but I'm really competitive. So it's the worst.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is.
And I've got no shame about that because I think if you're going to go to anything, you go in wanting to win. I do agree. And
he's going to smash whoever needs smashing, even if it's grandma. She is not coming out of this alive.
I think I did actually say one time when I got a treble letter on, "Screw you, grandma." I think grandma was a bit like, what the
grandma?
I know.
A treble word score.
In your face. But no,
I know he's a bitter man. If you
incredibly bitter.
I think if he feels threatened, he's a very He'll bite.
It's funny because Ricky says that he doesn't. Bronze is nothing. It doesn't count. Like he has got that real fighting. Winning.
That's okay.
I
know. Yeah,
of course.
I agree with you. What you brought up that he said that I did think that. Yeah, I didn't write down, but it's an arrogant thing to only once or twice a year that happens to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens to all of us, but you don't need. Some people it's many times a year. Some people it probably is once every 5 years. But don't list out because it's not. There's no humor in that. It's not like a humorous thing on the side because sometimes that works. He can be arrogant, but it's humor. It's linked to humor. That's just him making the point, just so everyone knows that he doesn't ever hardly find words. He doesn't.
I was on YouTube black hole. And I came across that Ricky and Steve being interviewed by Simon Mayo for the film review. And they're meant to be on there to talk. Yeah, it's a good video actually. I'll put a link in description. And they're meant to be discussing Cemetery Junction, I think the film is. However, instead it just turns into a call-in where callers ask Ricky philosophical questions. And Ricky he is actually quite the way he talks, and it's funny because it's kind of a precursor to how he becomes later on. But the way he describes and explains his answers, he's sitting there like a kind of guru of knowledge, it's a sort of I don't like those moments. I don't like that, Ricky.
No, he kind of loves that, and that's probably around about the sort of time he started to really go downhill. Not that I hate him now, but I hate what he.
But it's not like you got Richard Dawkins or
no, but that's who
Brian Cox or something.
Be. He looks up to Richard Dawkins more than he does to who is his comedy influences, Stan Laurel, whatever, whoever. He looks up to people like Richard Dawkins more.
There is an Easter egg in Afterlife where on the grave it says Stan Is it Stan Laurel? Yeah, Stan Laurel, Lauren Hardy. Yeah, Stan Laurel. I think it's name, but it's called like
Stan Laurel, Lauren Hardy. That's
yeah,
the right
it's
name.
called,
What do you mean? It says on the
it
gravestone.
says it says that on the grave. So it's like a little nod to his comedy heroes.
Oh, actually, it's all right then.
Yeah,
I'll give it a go. See that gravestone.
See that great
it's like
show.
Seeing Stan Laurel dead reminded me that he's definitely dead. I hate him. He's a bit like that in this episode. Is your point?
Yeah, and another.
See you later. I'm off.
And a lot of ands here. Anita Baker. It says it is not a glue. He's shade. He's shade. That is covered up my favourite. So
that's great. Yeah.
Tune that again. Get that again. Anita Baker is a good clue. Anita Baker
is a good clue. That is the proposition on the table. Shall I oppose it? Let me just think. What's better, Karl's clue or when Ricky's clue says, "I'll put him." What you should have done in a different, you should have put him in a nice. You got a chef, could put a nice baker's hat on him, and that's Anita Baker. You know, which is better? I don't know. Yeah.
I think that is a better clue, but there's nothing wrong with Karl's clue. Ricky's one.
Clue. You think Ricky's better? Because it's Anita Baker. Like I know it is good. It is good. It's the way the phrase varies in terms of how you say it is so little that I think I'll give him that. It's creative license. He's owed that.
Well, I agree. It's conclusive evidence. It was a good clue.
But there they go, ladies and gentlemen. But the other one, when you take your dog a walk,
the pathway of God.
That's not so good. So there is some merit to Rockbusters. But that's such because I judge it on how funny it is, and it's exactly.
But it's such a weird. Even if that was a work in progress, it's such a weird thing to go.
I heard something
to taste an area.
Yeah, but someone did use the phrase "take your dog a walk" like that. That is a northern way of saying it. Take your dog a walk. But that's what Ricky jumps on more than anything. Take your dog a walk. That sounds.
But it's just funny. I just got this image of someone, walking around a park with their tongue out, like trying to taste what a park
licking the grass.
Like. Yeah, it's just such an odd image.
There's a bylaw or something that bans that. I think
it's probably some crazy that is doing that. Yeah, stop licking the grass. And she walked away.
You're just in the park
on the grass. That's from the Patrick Stewart bit from Extras.
Oh yeah,
I've seen everything, and
I've seen everything. The outtakes from that.
I love it, but I like that bit when he goes up. Oh, and I do other things as well. Just as if like that's funny to go. Just is there any plot to this? No, it's basically looking around looking at women's fannies and things like that.
That's even though they involve vulgarity, it's an example of where totally legit to involve.
Well, yeah, because
it works. And actually,
classically trained actor.
For me, it's probably the best writing they did and filming for Extras. I can't think of a scene that I prefer to that, but there probably is one.
That and Ian McKellen are probably the two best.
I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, that's a bit too. It's good, but I think he overacts that. Even though he's playing an overactor, he overacts the overacting a little bit, slightly. I mean, I'm not an actor. I'm not successful.
Oh, you're not.
So I can't really judge, by the way. I earn about £12 a month from Patreon.
Actually, whilst we're on Extras, and we will return to Afterlife, but I will probably forget this if I don't say it now. There is a scene, series 2 of Afterlife ends with Ashley Jenkins' character hooking up with Ricky Gervais's character. See, I can't even remember his name. But they decide to have some kind of relationship, and in Afterlife I'm talking about. Oh, he's called Tony, isn't he? Anyway, in series 3, they're still together and trying to make an effort to make it work. It just made me think about how much I loved Andy and Maggie's relationship in Extras. To me, it was like
they never got together. They
never got together. It was a pure platonic friend, and exactly.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just literally soiled the memories of that. Like she's the same actor, but she's essentially playing a more like mature version of.
Never have been the same
Maggie.
Actor.
It's just.
She's a great actor, by the way. She deserves the part on merit. But I agree with you. It should never have been her because you've got the memories from the. Yeah,
you've got the memories, but you're also literally rehashing the same plot strands, even though you never saw them through. The implication was always, that there is a romantic tie to Andy and Maggie, but a friend in the same way you're like. Love your friends,
friction, and you never know whether they're. And that starts off from the beginning, and it's actually quite it's well written. it's not as nowhere near like Tim and Dawn, but nothing would top that kind of
exactly.
as a piece of writing of a relationship.
But it grounds it all the time. It's like all this funny shit happens, but it is still about the character. So you're like, yeah. But with this, I don't know. That was just a thought that came to mind. But I don't know if anyone else thinks that. But we will talk about that later. Returning back to the episode.
I disagree. Go on. Move on.
Returning back to the episode. Fashion disasters. Bullshit sweatshirt. I do find the idea of...
I can totally imagine him doing that.
Oh my god, yeah. And all those old pictures, because I have seen pictures of him when he's young and obviously quite a handsome, svelte man,
very
isn't he?
handsome.
So
he's handsome now. It's just in this period we're reviewing him. That was his non-handsome. He had about 20, he was really handsome. Then he had about 10, 15 years of, being this sort of like fat figure of fun, but very talented. And now he's back to being, for his age, pretty attractive now, I think. Oh, sorry, that's the guy on Twitter I talked to you about.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you if you've ever had any fashion disasters. Maddest thing you've ever
a lot of white shirts that I have go dark, go red.
Right, yeah.
Because you don't even have to wash them with something red. It's just anything. They just wear down like me. Worn down shirts. I had a t-shirt with glory. It had glory in big letters, and I had a big chest. I was a big man. Quite like that, and got lost one day. That's a disaster. I left it over.
What, losing a shirt?
Yeah. I lost it. I love that shirt. I probably wouldn't fit into it now.
I can imagine your clothing has always been quite conservative, even when I didn't know you.
Yeah, I've never worn a t-shirt with words on apart from glory. I know back in the day, I probably had Nike.
Did you ever had an Oasis shirt?
No, but it always reminded me Morning Glory. I think that's why I bought it.
Well, I had some bad moments.
I actually have another pair of trousers with Morning written on. So I went that Morning and then the Glory in the top t-shirt.
Yeah. Did you ever? You never ever tried to do the Noel or Liam haircut, did you? Because that was quite popular in the 90s, wasn't it?
No, not really. Well, they have loads of haircuts. I wouldn't say there is a Noel or Liam haircut. They had that bold kind of cut, but Noel did. No, I just get it. I just say, look, can you just do it like last time? And they just do it.
Just little Fred Gaynor, put Ben Sherman and shave your head.
Yeah, but no, I'd never shave my head. No, I couldn't pull it off.
Couldn't do that. You're trying to keep your hair.
I am keeping my hair. I've got to, and also I don't get erection. I don't get erectile dysfunction.
No, because you've got that. That was in one of the boxes. I did wear some white jeans once. I remember that was pretty. Oh, with like a white paisley shirt as well, like blue detail.
You got Rick Waller. Mr. Waller, no, Mr. Waller.
Well, I was skinny back then. It was like when I was like early 20s. Back then, I could squeeze into like
you were thinner,
yeah, but no, but that's
Would you remember what waist size you were? Because I know now I'm about 34, 36.
28, I think.
Back then I was 30. Oh, 28.
Yeah.
You are a bit shorter.
I know, exactly.
Anyway,
but I just remember being so confident. I could literally, I used to love that feeling of, making a statement on the high street. You like when Ricky had the leather jacket
on in the beach?
You
felt like that.
But it's funny that I don't feel like that. Now I want to like merge into the background, but back then I really wanted to make a statement. I suppose it's like living in Brighton. That was a big part of it, where you feel it is a bit fashion showy, isn't it? There,
it can be. It's not.
But then there's other moments where you go, I look so cool, and everyone else is like, oh, give it a few years. You won't think that soon. Anyway, I remember one time I was wearing these shorts and I was thinking, I was running. I was trying to make an effort to, stay healthy, and this is in Brighton. And I was running and I've got quite hairy legs.
He does have hairy legs.
And as I was running, I was kind of sort of breathy because I've never been the peak of fitness anyway. Bloke drove past, there's a car drives past, the bloke shouts outside the window and he just goes, "Beast!"
What?
He just shouts, "Beast!" He just
says "beast." Are you sure it's from to you and not the woman behind you, the old woman who was pushing the pram with the
Beauty and the Beast? And I just stopped in my tracks. I literally stood there and I was like, I'm going home. It's too depressing. And then
that was his only run he ever went on. Felt a little wicked.
It was like. It was ridiculous.
I went on a run once about 5 a.m. and it was still dark, and I ran. I started running, and I was planning to go right round Preston.
You must need a heart attack or something.
And I ran lengthways of Preston Park. I hadn't gone around it at all, and I thought
it's a big park.
So I ran. I didn't even run back. I turned around, and started walking back, and that was the only time I was for a run.
You just thought this is back.
I didn't even go. I didn't get like about 10th of the way. Walk back.
But that's why I like singing, because It's like it's not exercise, but it's something that you
La
extract
la la
pleasure
la
from.
la la la.
Exactly. It's vocal
La 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 la
exercises.
la la.
And you can still go to people and you go, oh, I do exercises, but it's different kind. I stay physically and mentally fit.
My
calling.
Muscles.
Oh, it's bad. Like I was literally on the It always happens every time I watch a musical. I get obsessed by that musical, and then when you're a bit drunk, as I was on the bus yesterday, I started like sort of singing to myself, and I was thinking,
oh, I do that. Yeah.
I might take this up as a career.
Oh yeah. Well, you've got yeah. Good idea. Don't forget me. We're still doing the podcast.
I was like, I do need to change my career. This could be quite fun, couldn't it? Anyway, that's a load of rubbish.
If you ever release a record that charts in the top 200, I'll give you a Mars bar. What is it that thing with the Christmas #1 that little family who do those little songs? How's that happened? What's all that about? You know, the sausage rolls people, and they do every year they've been Christmas #1. I don't know. I'm not like good luck to them. This seems for charity, but you know, I like charity myself. I just don't give to it. But
you give your money to charity lotteries, don't you?
I do. As long as they're running a lottery, like there's a dog.
As long as they can offer me something.
Yeah, exactly. I need an incentive.
I don't even have a gift aid card. Yeah. This is a very good.
I'm donating my organs, though.
Yeah, two things. I think it's actually a good monkey news this week, but there's a big clue in it that it is fabricated. This is just what I think, right? But when he says you've ruined it now, and after he says, you know, there's a white short fella, legs and all that, and someone, oh well, you've ruined it now. And to me, that implies we all know this anyway, but that it's a public acknowledgement that he does make it up, because that's the punchline.
But I don't. Do you need that to know that?
No, you don't need that. Of course you don't. But it's funny that he's like, it's a public acknowledgement. He's like, yeah, but it's like a spoiler, isn't it, in a film or something? Not that you need it, of course you don't.
Kind of. We all suspend our disbelief in monkey news, and we kind of do it throughout, even if Karl says something like that. I know, but it's rare that he says you've ruined it.
But there are some...
Well, this was a thing that was a joke, you know.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. But there are still some people, when you meet them from time to time, and they go, no, monkey news is real. And if we believe in monkey news, like, I want to move to another island if we're all acknowledging that monkeys is real.
Well, we've done podcasts, Mars, and I may forget what songs I put in that little stupid thing we do at the end, but I don't forget this. We've done podcasts where I was saying, of course, Karl doesn't believe monkeys, and you were on the side, which listeners were at that time. Some listeners emailed in. You were saying, no, of course he believes it. You literally said that. You'll probably cut all this out.
Yeah.
But leave it in. Go back and listen to all the episodes. You will hear Mars say that he believes.
Look, I changed my mind during the course of this podcast, and I'm allowed to change my mind.
You. Okay.
Whatever. You're not going to get an ego trip from
whatever.
That. Anyway, Scrooge. Let's discuss Scrooge, and then we'll move on to our favourite quotes.
Just before Scrooge, there's something similar that I thought, which was like a bit of a spoiler. Yeah, do you want to listen? Okay, don't ever do that. It is the fact that in his Scrooge, which we're playing that, which we're going to talk about Scrooge anyway now, but in the Scrooge, he talks about what present he got his girlfriend. And if you go back to the beginning of the show, it seems as if that topic comes up naturally and organically, but they must have planned. He wouldn't have done a Karl in a film that referenced that as long as if he didn't know that they were going to be talking about that at the beginning. And that, for me, that's a little spoiler that is a spoiler, because it's like, well, it seems organic what stuff comes up, but Karl must have discussed it and said, bring up my girlfriend because I've put in the work. And that must have been a few days before, because he'd done the whole Karl in a film. He'd recorded it. So he knew that they were going to be talking about what he didn't get his girlfriend.
Yeah, but isn't that just a case of this is a conversation carry on for something that we were talking about off air or down the pub or something? Me and Karl were trying to explain to Susan.
No, because it wouldn't have worked. No, he wouldn't have worked unless it had come up on the show before, like at the beginning. Because it wouldn't have been it would have been all right. They've discussed it before in the condoms, and that was the last year. But no, I just think it's kind of didn't ruin it. It doesn't ruin it, because it's like, of course, they've got to discuss some topics that they talk about before the show. I get that, but it's kind of like,
it's bad when they come back, though, isn't it? When they talk about the Game Boy Advance. You get the Game Boy because you didn't. I got a game, got the value. Got the value. It's like, that is, I find that one of the most outrageous things that Karl's ever done, and he said a lot of outrageous things.
Well, really, you found that?
Can you imagine? Like, could you you're going through the duty free, and you go, do you wanna get me another game because I paid You remember I got
You know.
72 quid. Unbelievable.
Do you think that was real?
Games
Did
are so
that?
expensive. Carl's got no
reality,
shame, and
we all
you know that.
No, but Karl would have done that and he would have had a smile on his face, and Suzanne would have known he's joking. He wouldn't have done that seriously. That's just my opinion of how it went. We never know.
I'll tell you what, this makes me think of that time I got a Chinese once and ordered it, and I didn't. My girlfriend said, "This is going to make me seem like a right bastard," but I'll say it anyway.
I've got some to make you seem like a right bastard. But...
She wanted some banana fritters, and I said, "Well, I don't want any banana fritters." She said, "We're getting banana fritters." I was like, "Okay, we'll get them. Put them on the menu." When the meal came, I said, "You know, the banana fritters were $2.50. Can I have $2.50?"
You little shit. And I mean that. Because it's not like if the things I know about him, you know that's true. Like it's not like you wouldn't have meant it in a joking way.
I did feel. I mean, it was one of those moments where I thought, I can't believe I just said that, but I didn't mean it.
We were drinking. It was like
shut up.
We alternate between who gets the pint, and we got to the end of it. And Mars Mars comes to Brighton. I go to London. Whatever we used to do it with COVID. We don't. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going home. But he's like, no. We haven't bought an equal amount of rounds yet. Like it was on an odd number. So the other, I would have bought the first next time. That's how we always do it. We always end on odd numbers often. Well, we often.
You got to balance the books, mate.
With that, he's like, I cannot cope with having bought one round more than you, even though you're going to get the first one next time, like we always do. He's like, no, we've got to stay for another round. I said no.
You can't. And it's also to the detriment of myself because when you're sitting on the train half cut and you barely stand it, we go, at least I got the value. At least I got the
Mars
value.
has been to like Swindon or something.
No, it's ridiculous. But let's move on to Scrooge and let's on to tight-fisted penny pinchers.
We were on Scrooge. We were on Scrooge.
Sure.
About
talking about penny pinchers, Scrooge.
Oh,
right.
That's the cleverest thing I've ever heard you say.
It is.
In any context.
It is probably, after Kes, I think it's probably the best Karl in the film, isn't it?
But it's all made by those two words. Nothing else about it is particularly but actually, that's kind of funnier because if it had been funny, a little bit funny all the way through, that payoff wouldn't have been so a dramatic jump in terms of the comedy. But because it's like, all right, just trundles on and you just sort of you lose focus the first time here, and then you're brought back with that with the two words. You know what they are. But it's good. It's overall it's fantastic because of those two words.
Well, it's really well produced actually. Even
very well shot. Yeah.
Shot.
He does well. He's well shot. Shot with a microphone. He really embeds himself into those films. Like the levels are always correct and things.
He does. I also like.
It's just a lot of effort.
And also, there is a strange sense of what's the word? Like sort of narrative fulfillment, or you feel edified at the end of Karl in the film because it's towards the end of the show and he's brought back Bob Marley, which is obviously the CD that he mentioned and why he was in the mood to begin with. So there is a kind of story arc to the episode where it does sort of wrap up nicely in a Christmas bow. I always find that quite satisfying.
That's like, because that's the very first thing they talk about. That's obviously the only way that would have worked is if Karl knew for sure that they would be talking about the two CDs he got at the beginning. But again, that didn't come up organically. But I agree, there's other examples of that in the show where they start off with something and they'll kind of end with it in some way. But yes, this is it's kind of a narrative. I never thought of it that way. Ambulance is gone now, so back to
your road is like a fucking death trap.
I live near fire engine place.
Oh, okay.
It's not called that. It's fire. What's it called?
The fire engine people. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
This is not an emergency, but we are going to have a little break now. When we come back, we've got our favourite quotes, and some thoughts on Afterlife after the break.
That's good how you said this isn't an emergency. Just talk about emergency services. Like, you're clever, like really clever. Well done.
Quick.
See you in a minute. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
For this week it is, at least.
Everywhere I go. Yes, you're reliving Christmas with Trout spinners. It's like you're there again, having the cranberry sauce and all that.
So, favourite quotes time. Is that through these?
If it's a mint one, you don't go, oh, have 2 bottles of semi-skimmed. Happy Christmas.
Yeah. My one from that segment was, this wasn't on the list.
Yeah. Okay. Just no point. I don't like moaning anyway. I love that. Don't like
because he does.
He knows what reaction he's going to get from Ricky. That's one of the time when you say something he knows Ricky will laugh at.
That is like Jack D does jokes like that when he goes, and you'd be surprised by this because I'm such a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. And obviously that's in juxtaposition. Yeah. This one.
We understand.
Special needs.
Oh. Yeah, he's again. He knows he's being funny there. Mrs. Pratt, is this your son? No, he's a lodger. Okay, let's mark him down. That's 2. Oh, it's lost count 6,400,000. Oh, Don. I love that, but I don't. Can you explain to me now what the end bit? Why is he saying "Oh, Don"? Is that the first name he could think of? Like
he's saying "Oh, Don."
No, I don't. He's not saying "Oh, Don" because he doesn't.
Yes, of course he is.
No, he's not. He's definitely listen back. Okay,
why would he say Dan?
See what you think. I think he's saying Don because it's the first name that came to his head. Because he's like, obviously, he's thinking it on his feet.
No,
he definitely doesn't say "Oh, Dan."
Yes, he does.
No, I don't think he does.
This one,
maybe he does. Oh, do you remember we had an argument like this a few weeks ago, and the listener got in, and they were like,
plate thing.
No, they were. That
went on for weeks.
They backed you up. That's separate. It's a separate one. I accepted. I did about 12 tweets about that to try and get back on side.
Well, next week, prisms or whatever.
That was my next one.
I love next one. It's just you could have put in anything. You could have said fractions, decimals, but it's prisms. I find that
he's very clever. Yeah, very funny. It's just it's an odd word, but we all know what roughly they are. And they are taught at school. Yeah. You do learn at school. Come on!
Shut up!
Come on! He really goes for it. That's
Clue one. At least Rick Mail and Ozzy had lots of hair. Yours would be like Humpty Dumpty to crack like a little egg. And there's no king's horse. Send a medical man like Neil Fox in. Which actually does return in Ricky's politics show, doesn't it? Because he says the Humpty Dumpty
yes,
fable.
It does.
Yeah, but all of the funny punchlines of that joke, we said horse. Send
Steve's,
all the king's horses. They're Steve's.
Yeah, Steve's. Yeah, he does do it well though, where he puts it like he's a diagram.
He does. He does. Yeah,
it is good. Quote. Here's my next one. PC. It's an artist or a band. Who is it? PC.
That little laugh he does after that. That's great.
Yeah.
Didn't Judith Chalmers say that? I make that laugh.
Stinks him. Yeah.
There's so many funny slurs in this one. Didn't Judith Chalmers say that?
He is a slurry. I bet he was hungover and they didn't talk about it. I will smite you with my sword.
It's funny how far we've come with Lord of the Rings because there is actually a new Amazon series debuting in September.
Oh, great.
And it's the most expensive series. You'd like it. I need to bake her doesn't work. It is shite.
It is shite. Yeah, it is shite.
It is shite.
For 6 years is my last one. That's my last one. For 6 years.
What's that?
I don't know. It's where he goes, I've worked for this place, ... for 6 years.
Oh,
so
yeah.
For 6 years.
Okay, I have actually got a few more. I'm surprised you've missed one out, actually. I'm going to make you look
tell me, because I was kind of listening and doing something else at the same time. That's how dedicated I am to this.
So I've got 3 left, right? Here we go. Yeah, go on, get it over with. Let's get the show over with. We can go home. You can go to Lanzarote and sit on some ash.
You're doing long ones like me.
Yeah, you have, yeah. You've got people in the Christmas mood. You're like Santa visiting them.
You're like Santa visiting them.
Visiting them. And also, you're going to punch yourself off this. His little legs.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought that I didn't even write that down because it was so clear. Like I forgot to put it in. There was another one I wanted to. Yeah, I did. Well, it's like we do a show. Incidentally, that's a good segue. I mean, he pointed at me and was the smile on his face there in a beckoning manner to carry on this link. Yeah, join us on Patreon if you want extra content. We kind of talk about different things. Like we reviewed Steve's series, The Outlaws. One episode. We basically talk about whatever our patron suggests, and you can join us over there. Miles will provide the link in the description, won't you, Miles?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, speak out loud.
I'll put the link in descriptions, and next week prisms or whatever,
Next week parallelogram.
Yeah. God, I know that for years.
I know. But no, do join us on Patreon. And
how much should people donate on Patreon? What's a good start?
You ask me this each time, and I don't know, because should I go for something high? Should I go low and pitch it in so they can feel they can? Well, look, a coffee at Costa, like the big frothy one. I don't get
a frothy coffee.
The really big ones, and the ones with, and they put like chocolate bits on. Like I've seen them sprinkle it with chocolate. They cost about £7. So between us, that's 14. So if you maybe a tenner. Call it a tenner.
I find it so funny that like a decadent coffee for you is aspirational. I just see you outside the window of Costa's going, one day.
Yeah. I was watching a YouTube channel, and at the end he said, and you never see him on screen, but he does commentary, political commentary. He just said, at the end, thanks to all my patrons, you keep this show running, and remember, and he listed a few, and he said, but remember, this just costs the same as a large coffee every month, just one large coffee, and you could be my patron. So I thought that was that's how it's measured.
No, yeah,
in degrees.
Good fact. Move. What are your favourite quotes though? Email in spinnerspodcast.
I thought you were asking me.
No, you can talk to me directly. Spinnerspodcast@gmail.com or Twitter, that's Spinners Podcast. What are your favourite quotes? And do get in touch with us like these lovely people did for our next feature.
That is smooth. That is unusually smooth for you.
In the community.
And I ruined it.
You did. You always
you've got to say it right. XFM in the community.
All right, sit back. This is where Gary gets to sit back whilst I try and get through.
I'm the talent here.
Neil Doherty, that's it. All right. I think you mentioned it in a recent show that Steve was asked recently if he could recall some anecdotes or any details from the XFM shows, but said he honestly couldn't. It got me thinking whether Steve is the sort of person to re-listen to the shows, but pretend to not have done so. I feel that either he or Karl are the sort of people who would re-listen, but I wouldn't put it past Steve to pretend he doesn't. I'm not ashamed to say I've occasionally pretended to know very little about something I'm very knowledgeable about, so as to not appear too nerdy about it, and I feel like Steve could have this personality trait too. Admittedly, he has had more things going on in his life than me, so it could all be in my head. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but it might be. I don't think Steve probably does listen back. He probably thinks like the bits he remembers are the bits that could be career ending for him if they came out now, so he probably has them in his head as like, oh my god, and he just thinks I don't even want to engage with it, and I don't blame him for not listening back at all. I don't think that's a bad thing. What subjects, tell me, Neil, email back in, Neil, what subjects are you so knowledgeable about that you what subjects are you so knowledgeable about that you sometimes pretend you're not knowledgeable about? I'd be interested. I'd probably do that occasionally, but I'm trying to think, if it's with Miles, I have to dumb myself down, sure. Like a really low level.
Do you know what though? I think whatever your memory's like, there are going to be bits and bobs that do stick with you, and normally they're the ones that provoke the biggest reaction. Like Steve can still remember things that Karl said. What are those things in Gremlins called? I saw that on his website. That's how pathetic my life is. But
but they've been so widely reproduced.
Of course,
it has been print in corner.
No, definitely.
He's not listening back to the shows.
No, he's not listening. Definitely. But what I mean is, I bet. Things like those sort of formative experiences.
Horse in house.
Yeah, those sort of things. But I wouldn't be surprised if, he mentioned that dodgy apology and then that criticism to the woman with the... But I was going to say,
this show is... I bet this is the sort of show that is that...
Do you know what I mean?
In his head. Because, and he's worried, like he thinks, please don't come out now. I've been very successful. Listen, that is not bad enough to cancel.
It's of course it's
pretty bad.
Nothing's bad enough to cancel.
I don't think he won't listen because he'll never know. He'll think, shit, I really don't want to come across the bit where I say she's certainly bigger head-wise than you. So I won't listen to any of it because there's no idea where it comes in the episodes if you just look. So I don't think he does listen to him. Maybe
I
think
he probably does remember some of the controversial stuff, like his opinions on the homeless and stuff, because they're things that he would never discuss now. But obviously, the ignorance of youth, you just disregard it and you hope you can forget it. But I bet people do look back at these things and go, oh, I feel really bad that I said that, or I would never say that now, and that's okay too. but I bet he probably does remember stuff.
I know that Miles is kind of thinking of himself now and kind of excusing his own behaviour. I know that he's doing that in his head.
Oh no, I'm not. I don't. I stand by everything I've ever said.
Oh,
all right?
Do you?
And I stand by that. And I stand by that statement as well. He does
like Rudy Giuliani. Get rid of all the homeless. Like, hold them all.
I've got black wax running down my face now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was mayor of New York and he got rid of homeless people.
And Neil, he has sent in another note, but we'll talk about that maybe another day. He says,
that's not interesting then, no.
I've got a lot of feedback. You know this.
I've got a lot of people trying to get in touch with me saying they like me. Okay, just let me.
Cheers, Neil.
Thank you, Neil. Good email. Thank you. Appreciate it.
This one's from Harry Steen. Dear Miles and Gary, honoured to have an email read out on the pod, as well as the tweet regarding Afterlife retweeted by yourself all in the same week. I've never had so many royalties being used with award-winning Not Yet podcast. So we have read Harry's out, but he's got
Don't see you on Patreon, Harry.
I think he is.
Your name on the list.
I think he is. I think he is.
He actually is.
So,
sorry,
I think
Harry.
So.
Yeah, sorry.
That's how little you mean to him, Gary.
I do. You mean a lot, Harry. I remember
anyway, he goes on, and I like this email. You may recall, but I have recently got in touch with you regarding my change of career to a firefighter since COVID arrived.
Yeah. I remember.
Really struggling with the job at the moment, and listening to your podcast on repeat over the last few weeks has been incredibly helpful with my mental well-being. Finding life very tough right now. So here on my email being read out, and the laughs it generated was amazing in terms of giving me a slight confidence boost. Many thanks, guys.
Well, Miles, do you want to laugh now? Not at that, but just because he like... No, I'm joking. That's lovely. That's really sweet. I'm sorry you're not enjoying it. I hope that if you can change back to something completely different, you're free to do that if you can. But I hope it gets better if not. And I don't know. It must be demanding being a firefighter.
I wouldn't do it.
That's more... Yeah, well, you wouldn't do a lot of things, neither would I. But no, someone needs to do it. So thank you, Harry, and thanks for your Patreon support that I forgot about. And
it's great, isn't it?
Your email is thought-provoking. No, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm genuine. I'm sorry it's not going so well. I hope it picks up, but we'll always read your emails out, Harry.
Anyway, Harry goes on. Enough about my own struggles. I noticed that as you're slowly making your way through season 3, you will eventually come across the Ian Campfield episode, which is next week. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I've heard you both say it's not a good episode or you just don't like it. Perhaps this is just me going against the grain, but I personally love the episode. Steve in particular is on brilliant form, and Ricky actually strikes a good balance between taking the piss out of Canfield, but also being impressed and respectful of his music knowledge and radio ability. I appreciate episodes without Karl will never be thought of as fondly, but I'd really recommend giving this episode another chance. Plus, it's unique in XFM episode lore, and there's no other show without either Karl himself or Claire standing in for him. So we did have a few people emailing us telling us about this is actually it's underrated and a bit of an oversight by us to be quite dismissive of it. So I think it will be interesting to listen and actually take it apart next week.
Yeah, I don't mind. It's one of the episodes that I've least listened to ever. So maybe I should give it another listen. But I didn't. They were talking about farts a lot, for about 3 minutes solid. The last, and I just happened to jump to that point. This was ages ago when I listened, and I thought.
It was literally ages ago.
It's not even on my iPod. I didn't even sync that episode. I'll give it a listen, Harry. And but I take back everything I said about your career and that, because you're thinking I don't like being challenged. No, I'm joking. That's a joke. Don't take back anything I said. And I will. We'll definitely. It'll be interesting to review it, because it's the first episode that we would have reviewed that I genuinely don't really. I can't remember anything from it apart from that.
No, I actually can't. I mean, he gets a lot of mentions, Ian, doesn't he? But I've never...
Yeah, he does. And I don't get me wrong, I love Claire episodes. I'm a fan of some people don't like them, but most of them I like, and they've got merit. It's just if it was always with Claire, it wouldn't have been a special show that people remember. But the odd one is fine.
I have tried to get in touch with Ian Canfield a few times to get him on the show, so watch this space.
Well, I'd say that he tweeted, because we follow, he tweeted that he's got a new jacket or something, and I tweeted back.
It's a jacket.
I tweeted out, it's 12, but no, this is better.
Yeah, all right.
He's 12. He's 12 today. His 12th birthday or something. Is that for your 12th
Oh,
birthday?
yeah.
It was. Yeah, was it anyway?
I wanted to tweet him and go, that is because Hannibal likes to dress up like as every Chinaman. But I didn't want to use the word Chinaman in Twitterland because you don't know. There's a lot of explaining to do these days, isn't there?
That's why that woman doesn't message me back anymore. We'll talk about that off air.
All right. So the last correspondence. Thanks everyone so much. This is from Matt. Hello, Matt Godwin.
Hello,
Hi, chaps. Hope you're both well. I'm
Hello.
a long-time listener of XFM, and I've listened to the shows every single night. Couldn't help it since 2008.
Wow.
I don't know if you've discussed this theory about Ricky Gervais's potential influences on potential influence and.
Leave this in, please.
I'm so
Miles
tired.
He's tired.
I've got a work call after this as well. I've got.
Oh God.
Fucking
go mental. Right, go on, get through it. You couldn't do this.
Okay.
Miles, you can do it. Just think before read each word out. You learned it at school.
Come on!
Come on!
I don't know if you've discussed this theory about Ricky Gervais's potential influences on the Channel 4 comedy In-Betweeners. Could be bollocks. Considering the famous wrestling match between Ricky and Ian Morris, the In-Betweeners writer, it got me thinking about potential influences between the pair. You've got far too much time on your hands, man. Ricky uses the word clunge, which is synonymous with In-Betweeners. Yeah, Jay uses that word. So, also, both Ricky and Steve take the mick out of Karl with that high-pitched voice. Oh, can I have some time off and still get paid? Yeah, of course you can, Karl. Amongst other occasions, which is what Jay does a lot, with the friends. Oh, friends. Lastly, it's Ricky's regular-ish use of the chicken noise. Interestingly, Ian Morris started up Productions in 2004, through which the In-Betweeners was created. Could be something to chat about, or we could agree.
He's been on Company's
House.
Old
Toss.
He's been really done your homework, Matt. I'm impressed. Actually, the theory, I thought, no way, when I just heard it at the beginning. But actually, that is a good point. I put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised if the In-Betweeners production staff or the writers or someone was not a listener of the XFM shows. I don't think they're trying to copy them, but you're just saying they were an influence on them, and they could be. That is a coincidence, if not.
I think they're really good points. Actually, I've never ever thought of that before. So quite refreshing. It's funny because when I did do that voice, that I did sort of deliver it in that sort of Jay Friends voice, like it is very true. I can imagine that. But it is interesting because Ian Morris and Damon Beasley, they did the
head of production comedy for Channel 4.
Yeah, but they did co-host a show on XFM with Jimmy Carr, so it wouldn't be too. And we have actually, we did get in touch with Ian and we're trying to get him on the podcast, and it's just about sort of finding some availability and a time where we can chat to him properly, because he's based in LA, so it's a bit tricky at the moment.
Yeah.
But hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we've had a lot of people agree and then fall out.
Yeah.
But Damon and Ian, I wouldn't be surprised, because Damon and Ian, they were the names of the producers in XFM. So it wouldn't be that surprised if there was that cross-pollination between influences for both of their projects. Do you know what I mean?
Nice story arc, because we were talking about the birds and the bees earlier. We're at the end now. He's talking about pollination.
I didn't even think about that.
I know. God, that's when you come up with your genius stuff, when you don't think.
Cheers. Cheers,
when you think
Matt.
It's shite. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks,
cheers,
Matt. Thank
That's
you.
Good
nice email. All of it. I liked it.
So now, before we wrap up, because I'm bored of talking to you, mate, I thought instead of our song, because I think you're not as engaged with this song
Robbie Williams
as much as we did. So I thought we could talk about let's talk about Afterlife instead, shall we?
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah.
You sent me some thoughts, didn't you?
Would you want to read it out? Because it might be funnier if you read it out.
Do you know what? I've actually deleted the message. So my apologies.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. I don't like to have a clean WhatsApp. But yeah, I should putting this in context. Afterlife obviously launched last Friday. A lot of people saw it, enjoyed it. Legions of fans, I should say. I'm part of the Reddit crowd on the Ricky Gervais thread, and it's not what people are thinking there. So I don't want to be one of those.
It's not what
But I don't want to do this like echo chamber thing where we all love XFM and don't like Afterlife, because I don't think that's healthy either. But
no, we don't.
You should acknowledge there are some people who have been through grief and whatever, and it's been very helpful. And I genuinely believe that whatever helps you get through something, who are you to tell someone if it isn't helpful. It's
Yeah,
clearly struck a chord, you know.
Yeah, I believe that.
Netflix
I won't read this out now because I feel bad.
No, it's all
I can't
right.
read
No,
this out after this. No.
Yes, you can. Of course, you're allowed to have an opinion, Gary. You're being critical about something he said, so set it in context.
I'm just still looking for it. So go on. Talk to me.
I was going to say,
what's your thoughts, and then I'll find this.
Yeah, I just wanted to read some of the feedback from the critics and stuff because.
And where are you taking this from? So I sent you. I said to you the bit, and you tweeted it. Are you going to write that? The Telegraph, I think that was.
Well, there was a 1-star review.
Priced.
Chris Bennion of the Telegraph called it trite, mawkish, soggy pudding of a series.
Okay, just shall I come in now because I've got. It. As it happens, by all accounts, it's a load of complete sentimental bullshit.
People need to know what you're saying.
Oh, this is a message I messaged my mum. She said, "Oh, Ricky Gervais is on. The One Show. Do you want to watch it?" And then she said, "Oh, have you seen After Class?" As it happens, by all accounts, it's a load of complete sentimental bullshit with no subtlety, where he basically holds up a card to the audience every scene to tell them how they should feel. No hint of nuance. He signposts plot twist like a 10-ton lorry that tells you it's reversing, lacks every quality within The Office, and the worst thing he's ever done. But honestly, apart from Miles, every other person I know loves it, but I quite categorically do not and will not watch it. I'd rather clean my eyes with Mr. Muscle and a coarse frayed sponge than be subjected to that awful drivel. Now, I was being kind of deliberately, as I started to write that, it was going to be one line long, and then I thought I'd just say all that. But I don't actually know enough. I haven't seen enough to make those judgments. So I'm not, but that's from everything I have seen, with the scenes on the bench. They do feel like, vehicle reversing. It feels like that kind of thing where it's telling you what it's going to do. And there might be scenes in it, I'll say right now, that aren't like that and that are subtle and nuanced. I don't think so, because the scenes I've seen are the scenes usually that he's released, because they're the best scenes that he can think of to release. Having said that, it's enormously popular. Lots of people I know like it. Lots of people with good senses of humour that I know like it. I don't. But I haven't seen enough to... That was just to be theatrical, like Darling. I was just trying to be kind of, sort of over the top. But that's what I think of the little that I've seen of it. But I haven't seen enough to know that that's my judgment overall.
Yeah, way to kill a conversation with your mum, isn't it?
No, she messaged...
Cheers, Gary. Have fun in Brighton.
She said, "You've gone too far, LOL." I love it, as in I love Afterlife. Hope you feel a bit better now.
Well, there you go. Different opinions in the same family. There are some middling reviews as well.
What's that?
Abby Robinson of the Radio Times said, "The very act of mourning is heavy and monotonous, and Gervais refuses to sugarcoat that, instead leaning into its permanence. And as a result, Afterlife has become something of an endurance test, and even Penelope Wilton isn't able to lift us up with her character's more hopeful dialogue. That being said, it's given that swathes of people who have followed the series from the very beginning, that's 10 million households according to Netflix, will relish the show's final chapter. They are simply happy to spend time in that bubble, enjoying the many faces and their respective idiosyncrasies."
That's fair enough.
And then there are some enthusiastic responses, so let's talk about those as well. So we're balanced. Yeah. It awarded the series 4 stars. BBC. Unapologetically nasty, saccharine, lovely and poignant. He said of the series, "It's also often a bit of a mess, just like life itself." But you didn't read out the thing that I wanted you to, which was about the ending. Oh. If you haven't seen it, apparently it ends on a particular unknown note. So spoilers now, if we do indeed raise anything, but apparently it ends on a bit of a unknown, as a bit of a cliffhanger.
When asked what the ending means, Gervais said, "It's just like life goes on, when you're all dead and buried, that's field still there." He continued, "That's what the ending is saying." Oh yeah, my point is that he came out, and even the scene that was like people were confused by it, he didn't leave it there. He even went back and told them what it was about. So there's just a bit, you can read it in the Daily, I think that's in the Telegraph too, or it might have been on joe.com. But yeah, it was just, he came out and sort of said it, just leave it something sort of unknown. The viewers in a film, if you have an unknown, you can tell. And if you've got an ending like that's ambiguous, so isn't that some of the most satisfying stuff?
I think
sometimes? So. Yeah. So that was like the only thing he didn't hold the audience's hand with, was that ending. And then he came out and told them exactly what it's supposed to mean. He didn't even leave that as a picture. Could be anything. Yeah. It's one thing making the unsatisfying ending. Can't judge whether or not has seen it. So literally, it's another literally just after it's released to spell out in this way in the interview exactly to the letter what it means. Others would have let a sense of mystery, confident authors, comfortable with the audience taking something away from the series that they hadn't exactly intended. It annoys me, right? Yeah, so the whole 3 series was blatant, obvious, signposted, and then I'm just sure after it's released, as opposed to explaining everything at the time, it's happening through the writing. So everything at every stage during it, through its writing, direction, on or off screen, during interviews, is told to the audience or on screen clearly and removes any nuance. I read the same interview and 100% agree. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way, Miles?
God, no.
That's why I don't read stuff out, because I'm not allowed on this show. I'm not supposed to.
It did come out as a bit mumbling. It did.
I know, but I was mumbling because if you read this, right, there's full of like typos, so I'm having to correct it in my head.
Okay.
It's like without.
I think we both agree. I'll read that out next time.
Look,
I can't.
No, don't be rubbish. If I've got something in front of me that's got words on it that I can read out, I can read it out. But this says like very like it annoys.
Okay, that's done. Anyway. That's done. Anyway,
can I read something else? I'll read something.
No.
Let me just go to a random one. Right, I'll just go to something completely random. Right, there you go. Okay. Could you give me their internet website address? No, that's cool. I'll check it out. Hi, that's such a granddad thing to say. There you go. It's a little bit of...
Thanks very much.
It's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Be cut out. Definitely. Sure, that's going to give place to the axe. Brutal axe.
Okay,
leave
cool.
it in.
Yeah, we will leave it. We'll leave all of that in because it was all good stuff. I do need to.
I can't read stuff out. Oh.
I do need to have a
lie.
All right. I think I'm even getting bored of myself, so I need to go now and have a little lie down.
You're getting bored of me. You can say it. That's the one time where it's legitimate to say that.
No, so I've enjoyed today. It's been a good show. It's nice to bring a bit of the Christmas magic back.
Just wrapping it up quickly.
Glum January.
Yeah.
What are you doing for the rest of your weekend? What are you doing for the weekend?
Oh, I'll probably read some more texts from between us. Just read them out to myself.
Just to know what.
I'll do that. What are you doing?
Do you know what?
I'm gonna work call.
Oh, do you know? Yeah, I'm gonna watch Guillermo del Toro's new film. I'm gonna try and do a bit of writing as well, mate. I'm gonna try and do a bit of writing back in the game. Cheers, guys, and we'll see you next week. Oh, before we wrap up, as you do get an email spinnerspodcast@gmail.com, spinnerspodcast on Twitter. Like, review, and subscribe as you do always, because on the apples. We've got an interview next week. We're gonna keep our cards close to our chest and just have to tune in and see who it is.
Yeah.